Welcome you here to Miami Ice Arena in Kendall, Florida. The Miami Hurricanes and the Lynn Fighting Knights making their way on senior night as we get ready for the pregame festivities to send off the seniors, all 5 of them, onto the next step of their journeys. They wrap up their time here at University of Miami as we go through the senior day celebrations. Kyle McGuire, the first one up, longtime defenseman of this club. The Mahwah, New Jersey native, who has got 6 points so far in 14 games this season, has been a relative staple on the blue line for Tom Mello's squad. Part of that 2023-24 championship squad, a huge key contributor on the back line, where he has been so stingy defensively. And he gets his recognition to start off senior night here in Kendall.
Next up is the definition of a team player, doing anything asked of him. He has played both forward and on the blue line. Also, this year he served as the team board president. He is truly a leader on and off the ice. This season, he has 3 of his 4 career goals and half of his 14 career points. From Bedford, New Hampshire, number 15,
Owen Gupta, Bedford, New Hampshire native, formerly of Bedford High, bouncing back and forth between the CHS Division II and Division III, where he really made his stamp at the D3 level before going up to D2. 63 career games in college hockey south for Gupta. He has been a do-it-all man. He has played some games on D, and he's even played some games on forward as well, as he's recognized by not only his family, but his brother Parker as well, who is one of the contributing members of this team the first year. Parker Gupta giving the recognition to his older brother Owen on senior night.
Next up is a major player offensively for the Canes. This year, he's supposed to lead out the team lead with 14 of his 18 career assists coming this season alone. He is able to slow the game down and make the players around him better. And even more impressive is his great ability to balance hockey with a very strenuous academic schedule. With 36 goals while wearing the U on his chest, from Chicago, Illinois, number 12, Ray Owens.
Ray Owens has been substantial in the middle six for the Miami Hurricanes. The center from Chicago, formerly of St. Ignatius Prep. 10-plus goals across the last 2 seasons for Owens, where he was really popping off over the last 2 years with his offensive production. It has cooled down a little bit, being more of a setup guy and an all-around player for the Canes. But Owens' impact has been felt as a key part of that middle six.
Next up is a very gifted defenseman who's able to play a shutdown role, but he also can bring the offensive side as needed. We've seen you win those faceoffs. A big part of our power play and penalty kill unit. He has a goal this season, which put him in double digits for his collegiate career, and he has 25 assists from the blue line over the course of his career. Also from Chicago, Illinois, number 16, Evan Sedakus.
Evan Sedakus, a fellow Chicagoan, as his teammate Ray Owens. However, for Sedakus, his time in high school with the Chicago Fury, where he has been stellar on the defensive side, typically a top line defenseman, sometimes having to go down to the number 2 pair, but he really did a lot of his danger offensively with him and Max Mensimer in conjunction with one another, leading the team defenseman with 6 points so far this year for the third-year senior from Chicago, Sedakus. Max Hoffman, what a career he has had in net for Tom Lamello's squad. Was the number 2 on that national championship run 3 years ago, but he has claimed the net as of last year. It was back and forth with him and Harlan Jackson, but he really made his stamp on this team last year as their primary starter. Did so throughout the College Hockey South playoffs from a year ago, and continues to lead the way in goal for the Canes is Hoffman. Formerly of Division II in Acha with Bryn Athyn University, the Bryn Athyn, Pennsylvania native, Max Hoffman, as that rounds out your senior class of 2025-2026. Team warm-ups have yet to commence, but it is coming right on the other end. Face-off between the Lynn Fighting Knights and the Miami Hurricanes on the other end. A senior night send-off at Miami Ice Arena as we recognize 5 seniors who are ready to make the next step along their journeys beyond the University of Miami. However, the next step is here in Miami Ice Arena in their second to last game of the year, their final weekend series against the Lynn Fighting Knights. Both teams only 5 wins and 9 losses with a trio of overtime results. However, a different set of points in the standings as Miami have the 2-point lead over Lynn in a home-and-home. They come here to Miami where they go to Palm Beach tomorrow to round out the home-and-home. That will round out Miami's end of the schedule. However, for Lynn, they still have 1 game on the road versus FAU just down the road. So the final weekend series on a senior send-off for the Miami Hurricanes as we begin here at Miami Ice Arena. Long try from deep, already the first save of the game for Max Hoffman as Miami are hemmed in their own end. Gupta along this all-senior starting lineup for Tom Amello. Trying to circle around the back of the net, can't keep it out. Morey with a delayed penalty already to Miami as it's delayed 6-on-5. Cooper Sexton towards the slot, no one there but Brendan Moore, and that will be a touch-up for Miami and an opening minute power play for Lynn, only 25 seconds in. And this is not what you want if you're the Miami Hurricanes, considering that you're not the best of power plays across Oddshot Division 3. They are the 4th worst in that category, are the Canes, sitting at 70.8%, while Lynn are just shy of 20%. Slammed behind the net, but no one can come through except for Mason Kaplan. Morey for Kaplan. Along the far side, working towards the corner is Constant. Back for Kaplan. Stick gets dropped, but still in possession of Lynn. Wide angle try, stopped by Hoffman. The clear can't come. Morey again, but missed. Quinn Judge circles the boards. Mason Kaplan, the freshman. Behind the net it comes. Andre, up top Morey. He waits, across for Kaplan. Recollects, 45 seconds burned off the power play for Lynn. Quinn Judge in the corner. Double teamed by Zadakis and Callahan, but neither can clear. Miami still stuck in their own end, and Callahan finally slaps it down. Bank pass to Judge at center, where it's full steam ahead for Kaplan. Weaving on through, dropped off, just wide of Hoffman in the final 45 of the power play. Ray Owens took the opening penalty as this one gets slapped up but not out. Goes behind the net again for McGuire, and this time he'll finish the job. Lynn were well offsides in the final half a minute of the opening power play for the Knights. Down the length and cleared. This Lynn team coming off a back and forth affair against Embry-Riddle where they won by a 8-7 mark. Only the second time all year they've won a 1-score game as it's weaving through the middle. Trying to get to the face-off dot but can't quite make it go as penalty has expired. But back to level. Merrill sweeps it. Around it comes for Dowdy. Dowdy lets it go. He's got Ladas in support towards Hoffman, but chipped to the wall by Kagan. Miami still hemmed in their own end is Dowdy on the recovery. Merrill alone on the chase. Noche behind with McGuire. 2 Knights, 1 Cane, and McGuire walks away as he's got help. And Miami might be desperate for a change as well as it's dumped down. And Miami will make a quick sub as Merrill's behind his own goal. Near side it comes for Lattis. Lattis weaving on through. The wide angle try is wide, so it's Estulin at center with Merrill off the bench. Hoffman collects. and a delayed penalty. We're going back to the power play for the Lynn Fighting Knights. A bit of a sloppy exchange for Miami as they're called for too many men. So this will put Lynn back on the power play. 0 for 1 in their first attempts, but cannot make anything go. Pardon, it's Lynn rather with the too many men penalty. So Lynn went 0 for 1 on their opening power play, 25 seconds into the game. This is Miami's first attempt as we still have 16:42 in the opening period. A chance for either team to break through. The penalty not on the board yet. It will be Dyduk to serve. As Adakis sends it across. Callahan winds up, ricochets wide at Stulen. Sadakis up top. Callahan alongside. Centering feed. Owens chops it, couldn't get it through. Diagardi with the recovery as Estulin continues the cycle. Callahan waits. Estulin, wide angle in front, and it's held off the line. Dixon got there, and it's cleared by Lynn. 30 seconds down of 2 minutes for the too many men penalty against Lynn. Jack Ferrantino slithering through the zone, tried to drop it off for Estulin, but he continues possession with Owens. Estulin using that frame to get it back towards Adakis. Estulin near side, Adakis up top! Couldn't get through the traffic as it got ricocheted wide. Attempted clearance, kept in Zadakis. Ferrantino couldn't get it through as it's back to center. New York City native, the first year, Jack Ferrantino, a part of this power play unit for Tom Amello as they make changes on the fly, with Estulin going across for Jusko in the final 36. Estulin leaves it for Kagan. Alone in the corner, back to Jusko. Looks for a lane, Estulin will do so. Attempted feed, went off of an obstacle as Estulin keeps it in. Kagan in front, couldn't get the swipe. Jusko reloads and blocked. Ian Urim in the way as Kagan has to go back in his own end in the final 10. Out of reach of Turlik. Back it goes for Cole Dixon. And that is one power play each. No goals from either. As Asaro laterally. Lynn trying to get possession, but they're offside, and it'll be touched up by Merrill to halt play. It's been a lot of tightly contested matches as of late for these Lynn Fighting Knights. The last three have all been one-goal affairs after having two relatively dominating wins at the tail end of November. If you include the first semester of play, they took an overtime loss on the road against Florida Southern before having a home-and-home with Embry-Riddle, where they lost 5-4 and then won 8-7. So it's been a lot of really tightly contested matches as of late for the Lynn Fighting Knights. And they've had relative success. They've been able to get points. They got a win last time out versus Embry-Riddle. They haven't had a lot of those really grimy victories or Lynn. However, they did get an overtime win here in Kendall the last time they came back on September 19th. Kashikani turns it over. Dyduk couldn't get around Turlik. Steps on the gas as Poirier chops him down. Poirier up the gut for Lattice. Goldman back first. Couldn't get around Merrill, so it's recovered again by the Knights. Slapped forward by Dixon. Merrill on his feet. However, Jusko disrupting. Out for Callahan. No icing as the Lynn defender got there first, but Callahan corrals. Around the goal. Turlik, side of the net, couldn't get there. Kashikani to keep in from distance and just nicked off of Jusko looking for the deflection. Cole Dixon stripped. Callahan causing havoc again. Centering, couldn't link up with Jusko. as a delayed check is going to go against Lynn, and they'll be back on the penalty kill. Interference call against the Lynn Fighting Knights. Ben Merrill, the sophomore, will be the one to serve the 2 minutes, and rightfully so. He was scrapping with Jusko in front of the net. Jusko wasn't near the puck and just took a nice little cross check to the back with Jusko, and it got his team a power play. Wind up, deflected, just over by Owens. Around, not out. Zdekis to keep it. Ferentino works the wing, trying to escape his Y. Y dragged down. Here goes Ferentino. Y exchanges places with Owens, but he lost his footing, and Ferentino couldn't keep it in as the first 30 seconds are burned off. Astulin getting around Noche. To the point it comes for Zdekis. Astulin and Zdekis play catch back and forth as Noche pursuing the passing lane. Ferentino across, just flubbed. Nice attempt there by Ryan Y, but couldn't get it through as that is sent away by Lynn a minute into the power play. If they get a full side change, Miami will take 1 or 2 as well. Ferentino lost the handle. A chance for Constant. Up the middle. Deke move. Off the bar and out. Dowdy couldn't get it through. And it's a chance for Miami to counter with Astulin alongside Y. Rocca disrupts the play, but Astulin maintains possession. Ferentino. Kagan, 25 to go as there's a delayed call that is finally whistled down. And we'll be having a quick 4-on-4 as we're about 8 minutes into this game, and it's been penalties on either side. We're only 8 minutes into the match, yet we have 8 accrued penalty minutes between the two sides, as the delayed penalty was against Ryan Y. And we'll have a 23-second 4-on-4 before it becomes a 37-second 5-on-4 for Lynn. Slashing against Ryan Y as Lynn want to work on the near side. Kagan bodies his man off to gain possession. Callahan on the pivot. Turlick alongside. Staying onside. Callahan slithering, firing. Tipped wide. Andre. Kaplan. Full sprint ahead. Disrupted. Judge. Follow up. Held on by Hoffman. Trying to get some opportunities on. Trying to get some opportunities on what eventually became the power play as the Lynn penalty has expired. So there's a minute 20 of penalty kill time for the Canes as it's Judge at the point. Across it comes Morey, winds up, took a tip and out. Not a whole lot going on for either side so far. A couple of shooting attempts apiece. But there's two teams who have had their struggles, to say the least, both of them within the bottom 5 in terms of most goals scored. Lynn have the 5th most at 89, Miami the 4th most at 108. They've all had their respective struggles. There's Owens, the turnover, sliding, couldn't get the chop through. But this will allow Miami to retreat and eat up some clock with Max Phillips and Zdekis. The defensive pair in this penalty kill unit with Astulin and Owens on the forward group. Mason Morey to carry as he's got Kaplan alongside. Slowly towards Hoffman and Zdekis. Can't get free of Judge. Owens bodies off Kaplan. It's a chance for Zdekis to spring free. 1-on-2. Went off of a leg as Constant is 2-on-1 the other way. Looking for constant, partial flub, second chance is up in the air. Still loose, into the slot. No one can get them but Hoffman, and we've got some scrapping. No J's in there, as is a Stuhlin. There might have been some contact on Hoffman after the play ended. However, nothing really came from that one as Hoffman got a little aggressive trying to get the loose puck. And then you had two Lynn players sending their body. Lynn back on possession once again. Cole Dixon with Haley. 12 seconds left on the Lynn power play. Across it comes, trying to corral Lettuce. In front, swing and a miss. Haley, second try, scores! A rebound from the point as Towns Haley gets it through. The captain comes through as Lynn take the 1-0 lead just past halftime of the first period. 10:07 in period number 1. Towns Haley, the Ripper from the point. Only his second goal of the season after getting his first goal against Embry-Riddle last weekend. That's 2 straight weekend series with goals for Towns Haley, the captain. And Lynn's on the board first. Brendan Patterson back in his own end. This is centered. A chance for Nas to scrap in the corner. Patterson dislodges. Still Nas, but chasing is a sorrow. Urim was met by McGuire as he looks to start the reversal for Miami. Gupta overskated, offside. Miami takes the draw. 9:04 remaining in period 1. We're Lynn lead by 1. Judge turned over as Stuhlin. Kept in play by Phillips. Diogardi to chase. Quick pivot for Ferrantino. As Stuhlin lets it go as it's Phillips at the point. Circles the zone. Diogardi with Sudeikis. Quick backhander, jumps the stick of Poirier. Ferrantino behind the net. Couldn't maintain, so it's a chance for the Knights to exit. Sudeikis the counter, 3-on-2. Centering, couldn't link up with Ferrantino. A bit misplayed by Quinn Judge down the length, but he met the red line, so it's no icing. Dixon. Swirling away from the pressure of Estulin as he pivots through. Still Dixon, dropped off into the chest of Max Hoffman as Drew Constant was looking for his 3rd of the year. Miami coming off of a weekend sweep against Florida Southern, the first weekend sweep all season. This is a very similar story of the struggles of last year as well, where they didn't get a weekend sweep until January of last year, and that came in a 2-game stretch against these very Lynn Fighting Knights, but both teams have changed significantly since then as it's sent down Miami's end, chasing is Kashikani. Andre trying to look for his man Dowdy, but he's entangled with Owens, and it will be Owens to carry. Turlick. Delayed hit, and that should draw a penalty for Sexton. Kashikani took exception to that as he just blindsided Turlik coming through center ice. And this will draw a penalty that Lynn will not be a fan of. But it is a fair play nonetheless. It's a third power play opportunity for a Miami team that is in the top 9 in ACHA Division III of College Hockey South. 20.4% on the season, but they have yet to convert under 2 tries so far today. Astul in the draw. Zadakis elevated, but it was a delayed offside and Miami forced to retreat. Andre for roughing the call as it's held on by Ferentino. Zadakis pokes it up. Patterson chasing. And Zadakis unable to keep it in. So a glove that went offside and the clearance will eat up the first 35 seconds of this Miami power play. Astulin sprints ahead. Astulin waiting on the wraparound. Astulin fed in front, couldn't connect as Ferentino was out of range, and that allows Lynn to clear. Lynn able to clear once again. Miami not really able to establish any zone time whatsoever the first minute 15 of their third power play of the game. However, they have had a decent amount of success getting some offensive zone time in the last 2 power plays they had. Ferentino waits as the reinforcements come from Jusko. Kashikani. Astulin. Zadakis waits. Drops off for Ferentino. Jusko trying to get through the legs of Doughty, but he can't. A chance to spring Constant forward, but disrupted again as it's Ferentino. Jusko. Diogardi looking for it. Push forward by Jusko. Final 3 seconds of the power play as we're back to level. More bodies fall in the slot. Ferentino. Slapped out by Lynn. This will be enough for icing. So a 2-minute stretch that didn't really result in anything for the Miami Hurricanes, for a team that has been one of the more prominent goal-scoring units in CHS. 72 is in the top 6, but they haven't really made much of any significant damage in the offensive zone when they do get there. Lynn's 1 goal came arguably off of a power play as the final seconds died off. Constant dragged from behind, delayed penalty. Still up for grabs. Hoffman pokes it, eventually caught by McGuire, but it will be enough for a Miami penalty. A hooking call against Jake Turlik, and the penalties keep piling up. Lynn are 1 for 3 as the Towns Haley goal, assisted by Cole Lattis and Ben Merrill. That was with 1 final second on the power play clock, extending a team lead in points for Merrill and for Haley. Getting the opener as a quick drag down allows Miami to get it out. Callahan putting pressure on, and that forces a play by Dixon. Stretch pass, Noche with Constant, and that's outside the line. Zip towards Judge, charging the net, back in front, and it's stopped by Hoffman. A grade A opportunity for the Knights as Constant let it fly, but Hoffman got in the way to stall things 30 seconds into the Lynn power play. 4.5 remains in the opening period between Lynn and Miami. Towns Haley on the power play is the lone goal. right beyond the halfway mark of the first period, 10:07, as the wide angle try is in the glove of Hoffman again from the stick of Quinn Judge, who has had a pretty up and down season for the most part. Started absolutely hot with a 4-game goal streak and hasn't really found that scoring touch, was on a bit of a drought, but has found goals in each of the last 2. Tried to take the try there, just back to Judge. Off of the leg. Circle around towards Constant. Morey waits. Judge couldn't get around. It's off the post, and also the net is off. It was off the post, but the net came off. The Lynn players displeased because they feel like Hoffman might have knocked it off intentionally. But it looked like Hoffman was trying to scramble back into position. Net's coming off fairly easily is a recurring theme here at Miami Ice Arena, as Adakis will send it down. Owens, 2-on-1, fires, and that's off of the mask of Brody Dixon. And that allows a reversal for Lynn, as it's Towns Haley centering Dowdy. Poked by Zadakis and cleared by Estulin. He might be alone if he can get there. Estulin blasts one well wide. Haley at center with Dowdy as it's dropped off. Sends it across, waits, takes, scores! An assist, and now a goal for Cole Lattis. And it's 2-0 for Lynn on back-to-back power play goals. The power play is proving costly for the Miami Hurricanes, as that is the second power play goal for Lynn. Both of them on relatively long shots, as you had Haley from the blue line, you had Lattis from the top of the face-off circle, but another chance as Urim charges in with a backhand, but denied by Hoffman. Into the slot, nothing can come. Disruption from Kashikani as he just tosses it in the general direction of wide. Goldman couldn't get it through, but scrambling back for it is Jusko. Asaro, Noche, missed. Ryan Y allows Jusko to set up. Jusko's alone! And scrambling around was Dixon. He couldn't find it. It's in the corner. Goldman sends it towards goal, but nothing comes, and it's Mason Morey. Urim just pokes it into the Miami end to allow for a change, and a roughing call has stopped play as we will have a roughing call coming up against Miami once again. The fourth power play opportunity handed out to the Miami Hurricanes. This time it's Ryan Y, the Markham, Ontario native, who's going to sit in the box for roughing. 2 minutes left in the period, 2:24. 2:24 in the period is a 2-minute power play. Merrill harassed by Estulin. Towards the wall, McGuire charges in. A chance to slide through. Getting around is Lattis. Dowdy tried to send it in front. No one can connect, and it's Callahan outside for Estulin. Estulin Callahan 2-on-1, sends it across, and what a save by Dixon. Estulin the follow-up, backhand, stopped by Dixon again. Scramble into the slot as Callahan retreats towards center. And a delayed power play coming up as Miami could have some chance, could have another chance at a man advantage. Estulin smashed at center. Haley knocks him down, the helmet is lost, and Haley might be in trouble after knocking Estulin's helmet off. Callahan wants to respond. Kagan has to pull Callahan away as the referees do so for Haley. There's been a lot of jawing back and forth, especially from the Lynn side of things on the bench. There was already a delayed penalty on the ice before Towns Haley got a run at Estulin. It's one thing if you make a check, it's another thing when you follow through and you rip a guy's helmet off. That is what the discussion is going to be. Do you potentially get the captain out of the game, the top defenseman, top goal scorer, a big body on the back line for Lynn? Or does he just sit for 2? Do they elevate it to a 5? There's still 1:13 left to go on the wide penalty for roughing, with 1:37 to go in the period. And Miami could have a chance with a 2-goal deficit if this penalty becomes more than what it was because of how things just transpired with Haley and Estulin. Estulin getting looked at for concussion protocol on the bench as Tomamello slouches over. It looked like Lynn might have had a chance to continue the onslaught on the power play, but it got stopped only 47 seconds in, as Hoffman and Dixon were having a little bit of fun sliding the puck back and forth to each other. Only one man in both boxes, and for Towns Haley, it will be a double minor. 4 minutes of power play, 4 minutes of penalty time on the clock for Haley and Lynn, with the 1:13 to go for Y. So it'll be a minute 13 long 4-on-4 before it becomes a little over 3 minutes. Just a little shy of 3 minutes of a potential power play for Miami. It would be 2:47 to be exact. So we will skate all but about the final 14 seconds of this game, 4-on-4. And Miami could potentially take advantage of the opportunity, extra ice, extra lanes, especially because Lynn had been getting so many bodies in front of Brody Dixon. He hasn't had to face a lot of shots, had to make a lot of saves because the protection in front of him has been so good. And also the skaters in front of Brody Dixon have been able to get those second chance pucks in the corner behind the net and send them down. However, with a 4-on-4 situation, you eliminate that extra factor. And that could be a place where Miami excels with space and speed. Ferentino off the draw as he bodies off Cole Dixon. A double minor for roughing for Haley. A cross check and a rough. As it's across, McGuire can't keep it in as it jumps over his stick. Swirls past the defender, still McGuire. Ferentino. Slowly towards goal in the final minute of the first period. Cole Dixon with the carry as it's back across for Jonathan Poirier. Freshman from Quebec making his presence on the 4-on-4 unit, and it's sent in front. Rebound was outside of the frame, and it's a chance for Ferentino to take a foot race. Ferentino and Dixon. Ferentino charges, couldn't get behind Dixon, as you had two Dixons coming in on Jack Ferentino. The defenseman, Cole Dixon, coming in from behind with Brody Dixon, the goalie, in his face. And a golden opportunity for the first-year Ferentino to potentially get his fourth goal of the season. Coming off of an excellent weekend against Florida Southern, we had 2 goals in the first of those 2 games, the 9-3 victory against the Mocs. Distance try, deflected, still loose. Owens couldn't reach, so it's a chance to recover, and here comes Marc-Andre. 25 to go. Andre drops it. Patterson back to even. Power play on the double minor for the Miami Hurricanes. Phillips up in the air, final 5 seconds, need a shot. Owens to the point. Ferentino can't shoot, now does Owens, and that'll do it for the first period.
Your score at the end of the first period of play, Lynn University 2, University of Miami 0.
Probably more penalties than saves or shots on goal for either side. 8 combined penalties, 4 aside. However, 2 power play goals for the Lynn Fighting Knights are what put them ahead at 2 at the break. Second period coming from Miami Ice Arena on the other end. One period in the books of the senior night send-off for the Miami Hurricanes here in Miami Ice Arena. However, they have been beaten twice, both on the power play. Once by Cole Lattis, another time he assisted to set up Towns Haley, who sits in the box for another 223 due to a double minor, cross-check, and roughing. If Miami can score in the next 23 seconds, they will have an opportunity to get another full power play on top of that. However, they've been unsuccessful across their 4 attempts. And if they don't score here, it would be 0 for 5 for the Canes, for a unit that has only scored 14 power play goals all season long. The good news for them is they don't have to worry about a potential threat the other way. Lynn does not score shorthanded, one of 5 teams in college hockey south to do so, but they could at the very least kill off the remaining advantage for the Hurricanes. The Knights are in the blue. They go right to left in the second period of play. Miami in the all right. Left to right they go as Ryan Lee, our entire University of Miami hockey crew welcome you back to Miami Ice Arena for period 2 between the Lynn Fighting Knights and the Miami Hurricanes, where it is 2-0 at the end of 1. Astulin Ferrantino with Owens and Zodakis and Dielgardi on this power play unit. Lynn sends it down, but offside were the Canes, so that allows Lynn to send it down. Two power play goals on 4 attempts for Lynn. Yet to get one on 4 attempts for the Canes, but a wide angle try is missed as Zodakis keeps it in play. Astulin, top of the zone, drops down, is loose, in front, scores! The loose puck, and it's Owens. Cuts the lead to 1, and it's 2-1 for Lynn, and it's a power play goal for the Canes. What an opportunity for the Miami Hurricanes, continuing to find ways to get guys open in front of Brody Dixon. There was a bit of a delay. As Owens was scrambling in front of the net. Brody Dixon was laying down, couldn't find the loose puck. For a guy who's been unbeaten in his last 3 starts is Dixon. However, Owens beats him for the first time. Moore, side of the net, stopped! Dixon got across, he's scrambling back. Top of the point, Kagan winds up deflected wide. Moore try to wrap around as Haley's out of the box after the power play goal for Miami. So 3 goals in this game, all of them coming off of the power play, as Miami is now 1 for 5 as Moore gets the touch at center ice. Moore out of reach, taken by Kagan. Dowdy gloves it down, but Owens steals it back for Miami. Sexton lost it. McGuire, the breakout with Owens. Owens halts, fires off of a leg. Y in pursuit as Owens takes out his man, but Lynn is back 2-on-2. Sexton, wide angle, couldn't get there. The alternate captain Moore gets hammered on the boards by Owens, and it's the reception by Owens. Tipped ahead, Callahan in pursuit, but Moore hustles back as he disrupts the flow of play for Miami, but Turlick continues to cycle towards Owens. Owens lost it, and Lynn's back. Lattice, a goal and an assist. Flutters it around the boards for Merrill as he gets hammered down. Turlick couldn't complete the pass. Merrill up top as that goes off a body and hits the wall. Callahan in a scrap with Rocca. Back to center it comes. Callahan and Lattice. Lattice escapes. Gets around McGuire. Follow up. Stopped by Hoffman. Matt Callahan with a potential 3-on-2 for the Miami Hurricanes as Turlick has help. Got disrupted as he hit 2 bodies and Goldman is back. 3 1/4 into the second period. Miami got a goal on the power play early in this period to cut the deficit to 2-1. Merrill on the near side. Well wide. Lynn had to be quick to avoid another too many men penalty, something they already dealt with earlier today. But it's Cole Dixon slithering through as the freshman slides it across for Lattice. Lattice from wide, stopped by Hoffman. Kaplan the follow-up. No one can claim it cleanly as it's bad along the boards. Lattice in the mix as he can't get away from Morin. Jonathan Nas begins the breakout as it's sent slowly towards Dixon and Gupta the follow. Gupta in front as Merrill swirls away, already on assist on an opening goal from a Haley. Slapped down by Max Phillips. Dixon back in his own end. Gupta chasing. Astulin knocks him down. Clean hit there. Lynn wanted a penalty, but wasn't coming, as wasn't really anything illegal, and it comes back towards the Lynn's end because they've iced it. Icing against the Lynn Knights with 15 and a half minutes to go in the middle frame, and a chance to pull back within one are Miami. The draw too strong, so it's a chance to sprint ahead for Mason Kaplan. Drops off Judge, but denied. Phillips. Across it comes for Diagardi, and that one went up into Miami's bench. Lynn are coming off of an offensive barrage against Embry-Riddle. That 8-goal onslaught was enough for a season high. However, they've also had struggles allowing goals in bunches. It was another game where they allowed 7+ goals throughout the season. The 6th time they did so was against Embry-Riddle last time out, but are recouping well with only 1 goal in the first 25 minutes of play, as Brendan Moore leaves it behind. Attempting to follow through is Ferentino. Ferentino with a try, but well wide. Astulin the follow. Up top, Phillips winds up, took a deflection. Ferentino looking to get away from Constant. Sends it to the corner. Zadakis keeps possession for the Canes as Astulin's pressured. Ferentino couldn't get it for Phillips, and it's out of the zone. A foot race with Kaplan as he charged the net. Save Hoffman, and almost got the cover, but the follow-up was taken by Constant and jarred it loose. Quinn Judge in the corner, return for Constant. Astulin couldn't clear. Phillips in the mix. Constant at the corner. To the point, Haley winds up, tipped wide. They're still working well in the Miami end. Wide angle, deflected, second try, still loose, can't get it through. Ferentino's alone 1-on-3 as Miami gets ready for a change. Ferentino missed by a mile, and that will be a heavily delayed offside by Miami. Back-to-back commanding Canes for the back-to-back commanding wins for the Canes the last time out. A combined 17 goals scored against Florida Southern across 2 games, with 4 goals allowed. A really dominant weekend, but it's been very scrappy here against the regional rivals, the Lynn Fighting Knights. Asaro charges ahead, but he missed the net. Asaro collects his own rebound as the wide angle try is caught by Hoffman. Nice attempt here by Asaro as he wanted to give it a go himself, not just once, but was able to get on position on the wall to send it through again, as the sophomore from Massapequa hasn't had a lot of activity throughout the season. Only 12 games so far out of the 17 that Lynn have played. And of those 12 games, only 4 points to show for it. 2 of those points came against Middle Tennessee State in October. Slowly fluttering towards Dixon as Moore couldn't get the clearance, but McGuire gets the assistance from Kagan. Dixon the touch, so that allows the charge by Y. Dixon aggressive once again, but Kagan steps up from his D-man spot. It's Y to slide it down. Moore will chase as Miami changes. Y clears his man out. Bodies tangle up behind the net. That one is skied towards Lynn's end as Miami's desperate for substitutions. Urim, the sophomore from Pittsburgh, sliding by as he goes to the net. Bodies collide as it's... You had Owens in the mix. He was scrapping with Jonathan Poirier. They were right in front of the Lynn bench, and that will be enough to send Owens back to the box. Four power plays in the first period for Lynn. This was their first of the second. They scored twice on the four. Judge up top. Morey, Judge, he waits. Return to Morey as he gets double teamed. And Callahan will clear with the assistance to Turlick. Turlick shorthanded. The attempt is well wide, but Callahan will keep it deep. Judge for Kaplan. Andre follows into the play as he drops for Kaplan. Andre looks for options. Judge weighing his options, and he goes for net, and it's held on by Max Hoffman. 42 seconds burned off of the power play for Lynn in a 2-1 game. We look to extend the lead, 11 and a half to go. Face-off won by the Canes, and it's slapped around and out. Cole Dixon trying to escape from Brendan Moore as Brody Dixon, his brother in goal, is giving him the business. Towards the wing goes Dowdy as Lattis, friendly fire against Haley, and that allows Estulin time to send it down. Moore in a foot race, but he's gassed. He's had a long shift so far. A minute 20 into the power play. 11 minutes to go in the second period as Merrill leaves it. Dixon enters. Merrill holds on, circles Dowdy. Lattis, wide angle try. Hoffman the save, still in front, and it will be Ferrantino to collect as he sends it across for Estulin, maybe looking for a shorthanded goal. Final seconds tick off of the power play for Lynn. McGuire's in the offensive zone. He fires. That's stopped by Dixon, and it's back to even strength for Miami. McGuire goes high. Diagardi trying to play defense on Haley as Estulin follows. Estulin's so good at manipulating his frame. However, the pass was inaccurate, intended for Kyle McGuire. Haley will let that one go towards Brody Dixon. Dixon in a second consecutive start. A 3-3-2 record in this season of 10 matches on the year. Him and his brother Cole have been a nice little 1-2 punch between the defenseman and the goalie as it comes to Dixon's left. Patterson can't slap it away. Owens got touched, and a delayed holding penalty against Miami once again. Holding call against Matt Callahan as Owens was trying to escape the pile with the puck. And this will put Lynn back on the power play. The 6th man advantage for the Knights. Dixon forced to play it as Turlick is down. McGuire able to keep it in. McGuire charging the net! Stopped by Dixon! Net is off! Lynn wanting some sort of response as to the collision with Dixon, with Turlick and McGuire trying to pursue the 2-on-1. Brody Dixon, a sophomore, looking to get back on his feet if needed. Tristan Falsetto is the backup. Falsetto, the alternate captain, a senior from Palm Beach, would be in relief if needed, but Dixon's back on his own 2 feet. And only a quarter minute into the power play for Lynn. They're back on their own end after Dixon took the collision from McGuire as he made a move at goal. .9:27 remains in a 2-1 game between the Miami Hurricanes and the Lynn Fighting Knights. For Miami, this is their last weekend series of the regular season. For Lynn, it is these 2 games against the Canes and 1 more game up in Broward against Florida Atlantic, the Owls. Morey has to swirl back in his own end as he lays it out for Constant. And Constant couldn't keep it, and it's back to Dixon. Kaplan popped the tire, and Owen sends it down. Andre collects, wants to drop it off for Kaplan as he gets around Owen, and Zadikis will bank it and out. 1 minute in of 2 on the man advantage for Lynn. As Dixon using the stick to sweep it up to Judge. He gets around 1, Judge stopped by Hoffman and out of play. A nice little charge up here by Quinn Judge on the end-to-end attempt. Nice breakout pass by Brody Dixon and a nice little slither move by Quinn Judge to get through for the sophomore Long Beach, New York native. 7 goals on the year for Judge as he's back on the power play unit, top unit. However, the second unit will come out with a couple of new additions from that top side. You still have Haley, you still have Dixon. It is Dixon. Merrill. Lifted across for Lattice. Lattice pressing up. Goes top shelf, but just outside the frame in the final 26. Kagan spins, fires, goodbye. No trapezoid in Miami Ice Arena as Estulin knocks off his man. Tapped in front, couldn't get it through! Moore had a chance on the feed from Estulin, but it's the final chance for Lynn to get in the offensive end. Merrill from range, couldn't get through. Moore back to even. Estulin gets the bank off the referee's skate. Dixon flutters and caught by Hoffman. A nice couple of sequences here for Lynn as Miami was struggling to get out of their own end. A really good job all the way through by Lynn to maintain the offensive zone pressure, keep the line, and allow a shot from distance to at least get towards Hoffman. However, it was a bit of a slower shot, and Hoffman was able to capture it through for the senior, who has had experience in Acha. 29 total games in net. The ricochet goes towards Miami's bench, but not inside, so it's still alive. Urim. The touch is back for Goldman. Kashikani up the gut as you had Morin laid out. Urim across, dropped off. Noche, he gets bodied. Parker Gupta getting in the mix. Quick chase to the puck. Ryan Y along the near wing. Y waits, Dangling through, couldn't get the rebound for Morin. The redirect, rather. 6:44 in period 2. 2-1 lead for Lynn. Asaro can't get by the barrage, but Noche gets by. Off of the wall, just maintaining the cycle, and Just Go will pump it out towards Y, and it will not be an icing. Miami will change. Thomas Asaro with the hustle back from Morin. Kashikani across center. Off of the bench comes Diagardi, but couldn't get the shot through. Astulin circles the net. Raka dislodged from Astulin. As Lynn, nice bank pass to the alternate captain Dowdy. He's one-on-one, stopped by Hoffman. 6 to go in the second. 1 goal game, sent across to no one. And it'll be slapped out by Phillips. Poirier. Morey sent down. They said it last one off from Miami defender, so no icing against Lynn. Ferentino on the money for Diagardi, but he lost it, so it's a chance to hustle back for Mason Morey, the Plymouth, Minnesota native, who is leading the team defenseman in points. As it's sliding through, almost friendly fire. Andre, wide angle, side of the net. Sexton with Zdekis all over. Astulin's around. And they return it again for Zdekis. Now allows some space for Astulin. And a delayed whistle as Andre and Astulin were getting mouthy with each other, and some grabbing by Andre, getting in the mix of things. But nothing comes, as referees are still trying to force things away, as Cam Diagardi will go to the bench and Zdekis will go into the box. This was that last little scuffle at the end of the play. You had Eric Andre in the mix with Elian Astulin. They were mouthing back and forth at each other already after a power play was given to Lynn from Evan Zdekis, their 7th man advantage try for the Knights. And going into the game today, Lynn had a significant amount of penalty minutes as the 5th most penalized team across all of college hockey south, with the 5th most penalty minutes at 351. That's 75 more than the Miami Hurricanes, who are 3 slots below them in the CHS rankings in penalty minutes. And Zdekis will add to the total with 2 in the box. A little miscommunication between Miami trying to figure out the penalty killing unit. It's a chance to get back for Quinn Judge. 2 for 7 are Lynn on today. Andre. Constant. Zdekis for roughing the penalty as Judge, he waits, he takes, he scores! Quinn Judge jams it in. 3 power play goals for Lynn, and they reclaim their 2-goal lead. Just a nice follow-up by Lynn, establishing the zone early on in the power play. Judge walks into the top of the dot, lets that one rip top shelf. And it is another power play goal for the Lynn Fighting Knights. 15-21 into the second period. In for Judge, that is goal number 8. After many attempts at it, 3 of those 8 have come from the power play. And Lynn are back up top by 2 once more. Miami's lone goal came from the power play. All three of Lynn's have come from the power play. They're 3 for 7 on the evening. Attempted shot from the point and another delayed penalty. Officiating is not messing around in today's game. Kashikani, right after giving up a power play goal, Miami conceded another penalty again. Another roughing call. That's now 8 power play opportunities for Lynn. Granted, Miami have had 5 themselves, but the quick succession of some of these power plays for Lynn will only continue to break the back of Miami. With 4 minutes remaining in the second. Half of that time is going to be on the power play for Lynn. Dixon winds up and into the glove of Hoffman. In the first 17 games of the season, Lynn have only had 14 power play goals. They have 3 in this one game alone. Back to the point it comes. Dixon winds up and deflected wide. Second attempt, Sudeikis sweeps it away. Cole Dixon is back. The freshman from Venice, Florida. He's had 3 multi-point games on the year, including a 2-point outing. The first time these two met in that 4-3 overtime win in September. That was back here in Kendall, as it's Dowdy on the boards. Dixon. Merrill. Kicked away by Hoffman as Estulin can't clear. 3:12 in the period. Circles the zone for Lattice. Dixon. Tries to shake out Owens. Dropped off. Lattice on a goal already. Sends it across to Merrill. He waits and can't get by Hoffman. Just some of the zone time of Lynn on this power play has been so dangerous. Nice puck movement to elude defenders. It's been a bit of a man-to-man defense for Miami's penalty kill, at least for the 2 forwards on the group. Those were, you had Owens in the mix and Estulin. This time it's just go with Morin as Morey fires. Saved by Hoffman. Scramble in front. Rebound. Stay by Hoffman again. With as many penalty opportunities and scramble plays in front of both goals. It's a little surprising we have not seen very many coincidental penalties of any nature, rather, especially with the way that these two have gone up against each other. Morey, Kaplan. Near side, Constant, back in front, Morey, save, rebound, Kaplan collects, can't get the shot off. Kagan in front, Morey up top, Kaplan, Andre, sends it to goal and scores. Mark Andre on the goal line, gets it across through the legs of Hoffman, and that's 4 power play goals and a 4-1 lead for Lynn. What an awkward power play goal, but when you put it towards net, good things happen. It just slid across the 5-hole of Hoffman as he looked like he was trying to guard the top corner, and he let the 5-hole open as Noche couldn't get across from Sudeikis. A chance for Turlick, couldn't get through in front, but Sudeikis keeps it in. Sudeikis on the circle. And it's a foot race, chasing back. Noche springs up Urim. Stopped by Hoffman as the rebound goes wide. And you have a delayed reaction as Rocca goes after Callahan. Callahan was making his way to the box. Rocca came on. And Rocca came in late. This might send them both in the box. It might negate the power play into a 4-on-4. Callahan took contact behind the box, sure. It might have hit the guy that he was making contact with, sure. But when it's well outside of the realm of play, when the whistle is well blown, when Callahan is being escorted into the box, you cannot go across and try to make contact as he's being escorted by the referees. You had a power play chance. It could have been a 9th one today. You're already on 4 power play goals, but the chance gets squandered. It becomes a 4-on-4 instead. That'll be the remainder of the second period of play as there's 1:49 to go in period 2. So Callahan got the penalty because he and the Lynn defender were going up against each other on the wall and made head contact. However, the much delayed encounter with Evan Rocca as Callahan was making his way to the bench, wanted to have a response out there. You can't do that, not with the ref literally escorting the penalized person to the box. 4-on-4 we skate for the next 2 minutes. 10 seconds into the third will be the expiration of the 4-on-4. Face-off will come outside of Lynn's bench. In the neutral zone, it appears. However, there are 5 Knights on the ice right now. And Dowdy will be the spearman back to the bench.
Roughly
10 seconds of the 4-on-4 will remain when the second period ends as Estulin swirls away, trying to escape from Sexton. Backhand feed leads the way, Ferentino, but hustling back is Morey. It's a 4-1 Lynn lead now as Ferentino trying to scrap to steal it away from Morey. Kagan disrupts the path. Morey the follow-up. 2-on-2 they go. Dropped off. Merrill couldn't get Lattice as he flubs it wide. Merrill, side of the net, gets punched out by Hoffman, and it's cleared out of the zone by Ferentino. Lattice. Circling back with Estulin in his face, so it's retrieved by Dixon at the blue line. Dixon leaves it, winds up and missed. Another try by Lattice, already on a goal and an assist today, looking for another. But Estulin will work the wall as he escapes the zone. Estulin, what a move, he's alone! What a save by Brady Dixon! Dixon the denial on Estulin on the breakaway. And every right to Selly for Brody Dixon as he keeps this game separated by 3. You had the top goal scorer on this Miami team playing in his 50th career College Hockey South game. Top 3 in the league in goals was Estulin, but denied by the sophomore Brody Dixon. A chance for Lynn. Judge in front, stopped by Hoffman. Constant to follow. He's got Poirier, Judge, and Patterson on this 4-on-4 unit. Poirier slaps it across. Too far for Constant. 15 seconds left to go. Estulin, 1 potential charge remaining. Dislodged. Good stick by Poirier. And that will be sent down, and that should pretty much do it for the second period of play.
The score of the game of the second period of play, Lynn University.
Despite Miami getting a goal early on in the second, it's been only power play goals in this game. 5 power play goals, 3 in the second period, 2 for the Knights, 1 for the Canes, and we sit at 4-1 after 2. Period 3, and the conclusion of the final home game for the 2025-26 season for the Miami Hurricanes coming up after the break. Final period of a 4-1 game here at Miami Ice Arena. All power play goals. Lynn are currently sitting at 4 for 9 on the evening, while Miami, they're 1 for 5 on their power play opportunities. However, 11 seconds of 4-on-4 do remain in this third and final period between the Lynn Fighting Knights and the Miami Hurricanes. For Miami, this is the last home-and-home weekend series all season long. Between this game and going to Palm Beach tomorrow to play Lynn at their home rink, this should be it for their season. While for Lynn Fighting Knights, they do have one more game next week on Friday here in Broward against FAU as we begin period number 3 between Lynn and Miami as the final seconds tick off of the 4-on-4. We return back to even strength, only 20 seconds in as it's circled around for Poirier. Poirier returns, got Cole Dixon as it's sent down too far out of reach, so it's going to be Phillips. Harassed, it's loose, shot off the bar and out. Miami can't keep the zone. Delayed penalty again. And this might be against the Canes once more. Slashing is the call. It is Phillips, and that's now 10 power plays for Lynn. We're only 41 seconds into the period. And we're already at double-digit power plays for the Knights. Kagan retrieves and sends it down. Callahan in pursuit as he tries to dislodge from Constant, and he does. Kagan. Continues to eat up clock as Callahan just tries to push along the wall, eating up the first 30 seconds of this power play for Lynn. Andre takes contact from Kagan. More bodies come along the Lynn blue line. Andre, he scored the fourth of the 4 Lynn goals as he circles around his own zone. Morey circles back as Miami were clogging lanes, but has a chance to shoot it down for Kaplan on assist today. Judge has a goal. He sends it across and stopped by Hoffman. 1 minute burned down, 1 to go. Andre trying to find Constant, but it's Judge instead. Judge charges to goal, and it's held on by Hoffman. And another great opportunity for Lynn as they continue to pursue the power play. They're getting a lot of work on these wings as they have been able to just keep the puck along the wall, trying to find ways to get inside and get clean shots on Hoffman in tight. And they've been able to successfully do so, but they do have 45 seconds left to kill off as Hoffman catches once more. Two teams who are in relatively good form in the last several matches. For Lynn, if you go back to the start of November, they have 3 wins, 1 regulation loss, and 1 OT loss as that got deflected on Hoffman's body and out. Taken down was Miami in the slot, and the rest of Lynn's power play will expire with Towns Haley going back into the box. So we will temporarily skate 4-on-4 for 25 seconds as Kagan blasts it around. It's too far for Estulin. It's Ferentino to keep it in with Estulin. Ferentino on the wall. Gets around his man Dowdy. Ferentino to goal, but it's covered up by Brody Dixon as he has another slow roller towards him, and with 10 seconds left on the penalty to Phillips, it will give Miami a full minute and a half to get a power play brewing. Estulin can't take the draw as it's back for Poirier. Patterson gliding near side as he's got Owens to watch, and Hoffman can't corral. And the second try eventually is pounced by Max Hoffman. A lot of high danger chances. Max Hoffman has not been really catching the pucks very well today. A lot of juggles and bobbles have really allowed Lynn to get rebounds on second and third opportunities. And they might have another one shorthanded, but it's taken away, and it's a chance for Ferentino to start the rush. Ferentino escapes Patterson. Try to cycle behind the net, and finally he does as Diagardi in pursuit. Poirier hits the brakes. 1:11 to go in the power play for Miami. Ferentino Zedekis, too heavy of a touch, but keeps him moving for Diagardi. Astulin. Ferentino's alone. Continues the cycle. Diagardi looking for an option. He's getting harassed. He's got Patterson all over him. Zedekis is the open man, but Diagardi can't get free. Back to Diagardi it goes. Hesitates. Zedekis behind the net. Astulin at the point calling for it. Bank pass. Got it. Astulin shakes. He waits. He takes, but couldn't get past Brody Dixon. Astulin bodied on the board. Zedekis, the deflection by Owens, hit the blocker of Dixon, and eventually swatted away by Lynn. Lynn a full sail change with 15 to go. Miami a few themselves. Astulin harassed. Misconnected with Ferentino, and this will be icing. Only 8 seconds on the Miami power play. And they haven't really made the most of their opportunities. But they are 1 for 6, which is pretty close to in line of what their season average is at 20%. 1 for 6, just a touch shy of that as this one is ready to expire. Jusko pushes it. Ferentino is still on. Ferentino sliding by, sends it, couldn't get past his own man, was blocked by Jusko, and this allows Lynn to reverse. Merrill, he waits, and a nice diving block by Astulin. 4.5 into the third. Center ice it comes. Cam Diagardi, the first year from a wide angle, he's well wide. Couldn't get past Kagan. Merrill sets up Lattice. Kagan tangled as he chops it outside the blue line. Murphy poked loose. It's Astulin. And Jusko has every right to be infuriated by the referee's decision. He chest caught it and dropped it. It's a bit of an iffy one, if anything. He didn't glove it per se, but it kind of went off of his chest and body, kind of a chest pass, if you will. Nonetheless, we play on. As Moore and Sexton got into it, they drop, and someone is going to the box. The matter is who. So we're going to have 2 penalties, both against the Canes. Jusko appeared to have said something to the referee, and he got docked for unsportsmanlike. And Brendan Moore was already on his way to the box for that little scrap he had with Cooper Sexton on the near side, just off the face-off dot. Officially, that is 12 minors against the Canes. That's a quarter of their output all year. 48 times shorthanded were Miami. They've been shorthanded 12 times today alone. So it'll be 1 penalty now. What looked like a 5-on-3 is now a 5-on-4. And it looks like none of the referees got a decision made. One referee said it's 3, one referee said it's 5-on-4. It's very clear that the officials here were not on the same page before the puck got dropped. Now the referees are finally talking to each other. Now they're finally getting on the same page. Now they finally have put something in place that it's a 5-on-4, not a 5-on-3. Now there's 2 penalties on the board, but you have 4 men on the ice for Miami. Now one of the officials is telling Miami you have to go down another man. So that will send Y back to the bench, and now the officials are finally on the same page and can agree on something. It's 5-on-3 for Lynn. Morey up top. He waits, he takes it, saved by Hoffman. Morey up top, the fake wind-up. Kaplan, Morey, back to Kaplan, saved by Hoffman. Still in play, and it's swept to the wall. The net came off, as it does a lot of times here in Miami Ice Arena. So as we come back to Hoffman's right, as it's won by the Knights. Morey. He had Owens in his face, sends it across, corralled, fired. Great block in front. And Raymond Owens will finally clear. McGuire felt the full brunt of that shot as Kagan gets the turnover 1-on-3, but couldn't get behind Quinn Judge as he starts the breakout in reverse. Kaplan sliding by Zadakis with a body, and there's some tumbling from the Knights, but they're back in possession. Andre, wide angle. Hoffman the denial, and Astulin will poke it out. 53 seconds remain on the 5-on-3 for Lynn. And that will go outside of the Miami end of the ice, as it looked like it was the Knights who chopped at the puck when they were well offside. And because of how egregious the offside was, it's going to come back to Lynn's own end. Callahan getting scrappy at the dot, so it's Cole Dixon to break out for Lynn. Dixon halts. Across it comes Merrill. Lattice, saved by Hoffman, rebound, loose in front, trying to slide it across, can't get by Phillips, and it's behind the net. Phillips holding off his man Haley, but Lynn are back on. Dowdy across, Dixon ricochets over top. 17 seconds remain in the 5-on-3, and it'll be back to 5-on-5 with 14 to go. Merrill on his backhand, circles back, 10 to go. Merrill off of Zadakis, Callahan sweeps it out the zone, and that should do it for the 5-on-3 kill for Miami. Lattice, the drop off. Collection by Merrill, and he'll just dump it down and allow the Knights to reset. Turned over again. Nice hit there as it dislodged from Lattice. And the Avalanche continues to pile for Miami. 13 times shorthanded. That is over a quarter of the output they have had all season long. And Miami's penalty kill percentage wasn't good this year to begin with at only 71%. This year they're not faring much better at 75. 8 kills on 12 shorthanded opportunities. But it's also a credit to how good Lynn has been with the man up as Morey wiggles by, hits the brakes. Andre supports. Still around, Morey behind the net, looking for an option. That's disrupted by Turlick. Owens couldn't get free. Lynn still in possession, not before Kagan gets it down. Turlick tried to charge for the loose puck as that was Dixon coming out of his own net. Constant, obvious slashing, Kagan getting into it, and now we're gonna have some extras. Judge got in. Kagan the slash, that one is obvious. But Kagan is still getting mouthy. He's face to face with his man, that's Constant. Judge already sent to the box. Merrill and Constant sandwiching Kagan. He's trying to get at least one of them. And that's already after they already had the slashing call against Matt Callahan. Kagan goes into the box. Judge joins him. And we should be skating 4-on-3. This was all on a Lynn power play, by the way. So Lynn had the man advantage already. And the sheer undisciplined nature of this Miami team at the moment already going from bad to worse. You have 20 penalties of only the ones that resulted in power plays. You include the ones that went to 4-on-4, you might be exceeding 20 penalties at this minute. But as it stands, you have 19 guaranteed, and Judge will make his way into the locker room. He is done for the evening, but he made his contribution felt. 3 goals in the last 2 games for Quinn Judge. He has goals in 3 straight, coming off of a 2-goal outing in the second of 2 games versus Embry-Riddle. And he, at the very least, exits with his mark on the score sheet. With his 8th goal of the year, 12 points. And a 3-game goal streak for the sophomore Quinn Judge. Now the question becomes, does anything maybe get sorted out with Kagan as he took that deliberate slash on Constant? Half of the stick went flying back into the Lynn defensive end from the north side of center for Lynn. Murphy will take Judge's spot on the bench. No numbers have been flashed up, so we might still skate 5-on-4. And it becomes a 5-on-3 with that Kagan slash. 13 minor penalties to the Miami Hurricanes, and that's only of the ones. That's only of the ones that counted for power plays. However, you do get that 5 on the board because of Judge, served by Murphy. So we will skate 4-on-3 for the next minute before it becomes 4-on-4 for 50 seconds, and the remainder will be a 5-on-4 for Miami. Cross-checking against Judge with the slash from Kagan as it's held on by Dowdy. Dowdy up top again. Slides it across. He's got Dixon. Wanting to connect but couldn't get there was Poirier. Poirier swirls down as that's slapped around the boards but not out as it's collected by Dixon. Poirier takes contact from Estulin. It's enough to jar the puck back to center. A pair of 5, 9, and 3 teams between the Lynn Fighting Knights and the Miami Hurricanes. Doughty, body by Estulin again, and he will shoot it down. Callahan lost his footing. That's Ferentino, rather. Ferentino shorthanded. And he'll just keep it deep in Lynn's end and eat up some of the clock, so we skate to 4-on-4. 35 seconds left to 4-on-3. Ferentino. Estulin couldn't complete the strip. 23 seconds on the 4-on-4 before Hoffman kicks it away to the corner. Ferentino with Morey in his face. It hits Morey, but outside of the zone. Estulin with room, but no reinforcements. He's reaching, couldn't get this follow-up. Sends it across. Ferentino, no contact. Lost an edge as we go to 5-on-4 for Miami. Distance try was blocked off by Hoffman. Another one was punched up in the air, and it goes off the ceiling. So a nice couple of saves made for the Miami Hurricanes as they were able to get possession, but nothing really meaningful. Lynn have actually been the ones maximizing the extra space on the ice, as they really have. They just have that chemistry. The puck movement is really fluid. It's just working for Lynn, to say the least. They're connecting, they're really together on things. Miami just a little disjointed right now because Lynn are just being able to read these plays. Here comes Diagardi. Back for Zdekis as he returns for Diagardi. Come on! Smacked by Morey into the wall. 3 Canes, 1 Knight. As Diagardi is held on by Sexton, but it's back to the point for Zdekis. He lets it fly, but it deflects off of Brody Dixon, and it can't stay in. Sexton chased by Zdekis, couldn't get across, looking for Noche, and there's 2 minutes remaining on the 5-minute major for Judge, who has been tossed from the game as Turlick comes in. Can't get across with the block by Patterson. Turlick to follow. Diagardi with him. But it's McGuire at the point instead. McGuire winds up, but that got tipped high. Callahan off of the window, 1.5 minutes on the major. Power play for Miami. Turlick on the near wall. He swivels by as he got contact from Sexton. Diagardi in tight, couldn't get it through. Turlick the rebound. Sends it around. Sends it across, but can't get through. Owens bobbles the puck and recollects. Owens, McGuire up top. Back for Owens. He waits. Sends it across. Callahan, save, rebound. Turlick coming out. Dixon scrambles, and eventually he's got it. A nice sequence here from Miami, just trying to get the puck into the net. You have bodies there. You had guys coming in. Then you have the late penalty at the very end of the sequence there with Nick Noche. But a good job getting bodies into that low slot area with Turlick and with Callahan, but nothing was able to go of it. But good news for Miami, they have an extra man advantage of 5-on-3. They'll have it for over a minute, but nothing more after that. And right off the gate, Lynn sends it down. Noche for roughing after it was held on by Dixon. Estulin with speed, gets around, in tight, save, rebound, can't get through. Morin, Zdekis is wide, but it's kept again by Ferentino. Morin Estulin. Lost it. Haley in his face, but Estulin again. Morin wanted the rebound, but couldn't get it through for Diagardi, but it's back up top for Ferentino. Harassed by Andre. He swirls, looking for Zdeikis. Ferentino and Zdeikis back and forth. Zdeikis holds on. Estulin on the circle. Andre is aggressive and is making Estulin try to hustle toward the wall where he got bodied. Morin couldn't connect with Zdeikis, and it's gone. Puck stopped at the Miami bench. It allows Ferentino to touch up for Estulin. Coming in late, in front, Diagardi couldn't get behind Dixon. We're back to 5-on-4 play for Miami, but a lot of these chances have pretty much been one and done. Not a lot really going through it. You did get the follow-up by Diagardi, but it didn't really result in much. And it doesn't help that Ferentino couldn't get the face-off win, and that allows Lynn to send it down with the final 25 seconds of the man advantage. Estulin dislodged. What a chop by Drew Constant to jar it loose to the Lethbridge, Alberta native, the junior. Off of the skates of Moray, and Kagan just attempts the chip. Urim. Delayed penalty again for Miami. And it's going to be Kagan again on a stick penalty. Another stick penalty called against Remy Kagan. As the 5-minute major had wrapped up. Kagan, the sophomore, only in his second season with College Hockey South. He's had quite a number of he's had quite a bit of experience at this level with 41 games played, but with the nature of the penalties and maybe some of the talk afterward, Kagan's gone from the game as well. So we've seen Quinn Judge leave. Now Remy Kagan is tossed as well. This will be a 5-minute major for Kagan. And both Miami and Lynn are a man down for the final 5:39. Miami will be a man down for all but the final 39 seconds. Will Miami be skating with 4 men going forward? Haley bodies off his man, Lettuce. He holds on as it's Merrill. Couldn't get by with Kashikani in the way. McGuire holds in. And it's held on by Lynn. But it couldn't keep in was Dixon, as Owens just trying to eat up some clock and a delayed penalty for Miami. And eventually Haley gets the touch. And that will halt play, and this will, at the very least, diminish some of the negative impact of the 5-minute major, as you have a cross-checking penalty going to Jackson Dowdy, the alternate captain, the junior from Salem, North New Hampshire. A nice offensive outing last time out versus Embry-Riddle, but he'll spend 2 of the last 5 minutes in the box. So at the very least, there was 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the penalty for Kagan, but it will now be a 4-on-4 for the Canes and the Knights, which could only benefit the Canes because it's that's 2 fewer minutes that you have to kill off shorthanded. And Dowdy will go to the locker room also. Cross-checking by Dowdy. So we've seen this game before in College Hockey South, especially here at Miami Ice Arena. almost every time that it's gone to this extent between the Canes and whoever comes here to Miami Ice Arena, it's usually never just one. They usually come in bunches, and this is the same case. 3 ejections, all of them within this third period, all in the back half of the third period between Judge, Kagan, and now Doughty. On the 10-minute, the 2 and a 10 for cross-checking for Doughty. Constant in the play, circles it around. He's got Rocca. Rocca scrapping with McGuire, trying to get it free, but it's behind the net for Osaro. Up top, Morey waits, takes off the pipe, out of play, and into the top mesh. What a play this is for Lynn's power, or Lynn's 4-on-4 unit, and they've been able to make serious advantage of the extra ice available to them. They haven't really squandered any of the opportunities. When they get them, they take advantage and they make sure that it hurts. And especially for Lynn, they have a combined 15 minor penalties so far given to the Canes that have resulted in some sort of power play opportunity for Lynn. 15 and the 9 for Miami. That doesn't include any of the majors. But a return to the power play for Lynn. Up top, Morey waits. He goes across to Merrill. 4-on-3 we skate for the next 55. Then it becomes a 5-on-3 as that one got tipped wide. And it's back for Lattice. Another delayed penalty coming up against Miami. This will only extend the 5-on-3 as that one is blocked. McGuire couldn't get possession. Morey behind the net, touched up by Owens, and a hooking will only extend the 5-on-3. So this is where things start to get sticky. It was already a 5-on-3 favoring the Lynn Knights. So you already had a 5-on-3 given to the Lynn Knights. However, another penalty was taken within that 5-on-3. That'll extend the 5-on-3 beyond what is already on there, and that'll pretty much be it for the game. That Miami is going to end it with a 5-on-3 as Constant works it near side Merrill. 15 seconds remain on the major for Lynn, and they'll be at a 5-on-3. Currently a 4-on-3. Dixon. Miss hit, so it's Constant. Merrill, wide angle try, but Hoffman fights it off. And now we go to 5-on-3 in the final 3 minutes. Sent in tight, Constant drops it. Merrill chips it. Dixon. Outside of the zone, Lynn has to retreat. It is Dixon charging ahead. The wide angle try is elbowed off by Hoffman, and Estulin's in a foot race with Merrill. Estulin can't get the deke through as Lattice got his body in play. A team lead in goals for the freshman from Southborough, Massachusetts. 9 goals for the Lynn Fighting Knights is enough for the top of the team. Ben Merrill, however, leads the team in all points with 18, including an assist today as Estulin fights off his man and gets it out. This will be the first string of back-to-back wins for Lynn since November. They opened up the season with back-to-back wins, beating Florida Tech back at home, and a week later here in Kendall, where they beat Miami in overtime 4-3. Merrill charging in, slides by, can't get contact. Owens, Kashikani rather, chips it out. And then you also had the very beginning of November, the 2nd versus FAU, and the 15th in Lakeland against Florida Southern. Those were 2 wins in this recent run of form for Lynn with a combined 11 goals and 3 allowed as the rebound cannot be put in by Asaro. 45 remains on the initial 5-on-3. There's still an extra penalty in the box. Andre Merrill missed it. Final minute 12. Poirier, Merrill, Andre winds up, saved by Hoffman. It's still a 5-on-3 for Lynn. It'll remain a 5-on-3 for pretty much the rest of the game at this point. 26 to go on the Kagan Major. You had another penalty in the mix for another penalty in the mix for another 50 seconds as Lynn tries to finish off their last substitutions as it's chipped out of the zone.
This is the last minute of play in the third period.
Lattice also leads the team with 4 power play goals. 3 players had 3+ power play goals getting into today. That was Morey, Lattice, and Merrill. It's a scramble in front. Another power play coming up for Lynn, as if they don't have enough men of an advantage already. Kashikani is done. He'll pretty much be sent off. So that's going to be it for Kashikani, the junior from Pittsburgh. Believe it or not, for Kashikani, he's at 12 games with a penalty going into today. You can include, if you include today, that's 13 games with a penalty. He's only at 5 where he's kept a clean sheet on the disciplinary chart. Kashikani, a relatively aggressive defenseman. He likes to get into play. He's always fighting and scrapping with other guys, usually not outside of the realm of play, but at least in this instance. It only extends a 5-on-3 with 45 seconds to go as that shot is missed by Haley. And it comes around outside. So game misconduct for the cross-check. And the big question is, with all these misconducts, how do things transpire tomorrow, whether it be the penalties, the discipline, potential suspension because of the ejections, just the idea of a home and geography and having to play these guys again. How does everything kind of force this perfect blend of chaos that is this game? We might be crossing 20 minor penalties on Miami alone. But a game well played by Lynn overall, despite the scoreline. They've been relatively dominant in this game for the most part, are the Knights. Even though it's only a 4-1 game, they have had a whole bunch of the possession. They have been stingy in Miami's zone, forcing Miami to take penalties, getting up in their grill, kind of playing the mental game a little bit, the frustration part of things, some of the extracurriculars after the play. It played right into Lynn's hands, and they'll take this win back home to Palm Beach, where they get to face these Hurricanes again, and they'll take all the marbles back to Palm Beach skate zone, where they win this one in Kendall by a final of 4-1. A less than ideal send-off for the seniors, but a hard-fought game by the Lynn Knights, where they really showed their dominance on these Canes. 4-1 the final here in Senior Nights in Kendall, Florida. The last home game of the year for the Miami Hurricanes. They go to Palm Beach Gate Zone to play against these very Lynn Fighting Knights starting tomorrow. That's an 8 p.m. puck drop as well. And for Lynn to get one more game on the road in Broward against FAU. That'll do it for us and our entire crew here in Kendall, Florida at Miami Ice Arena. Thank you so much for following all season long. You can look us up and follow us on all of your social media platforms with Miami Club Hockey in the first year of ACHA Division III. My name is Ryan Lee. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your night.